Well, hello folks. Welcome. It is I, David Connolly, the web developer extraordinaire. Well, I'm speaking to you on Saturday morning here. And usually on a Saturday I do the live coding streams, just as I do on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Been doing these live coding streams for quite a long time. And it has been good, you know. Originally I had a really rubbish title for this video. And the title was going to be 2 arguments that I have lost. Maybe the title has changed, but the content has not. And I would like to tell you about a couple of things that I've been thinking about lately. By the way, I hope you like the piano music. I've added it for dramatic effect. What do you think? Makes those long pauses a little less awkward, don't you think? Anyway, as you know, some of you, we've been working on the documentation, and I say we because it's a team effort, you know. And there's a bunch of us that have been completely redoing the Trongate documentation. It's not out yet, but you're going to see it soon. And one of the things that was suggested, I think it was by Dom Sinclair, he said we should document and reference every single function and every single method on the framework. And we've done that. I wonder if I can show you actually. Well, it doesn't matter, but you'll see it soon anyway. So when the new documentation comes out for Trongate, if a function or a method is mentioned, you'll have a little button and you'll be able to click on it, and it will tell you exactly what it does in plain English, how it works and everything. And a whole lot of work went into that. Now, as we were putting that together, there was a moment of confusion, because you're going through every single function and method, and there's tons of them, and you're asking yourself, right, am I going to document this? Now, sometimes there's a function or a method that's publicly available and it's helpful for you to know about this. But then there's these internal functions that only matter for the framework itself, to do with loading of things, stuff like that. And you really don't need to know about that stuff. It doesn't need to be documented. And so we went into this thinking, let's just document the stuff that you guys need to know about. And that was what happened. And what I realised is that it was sort of confusing. And it was confusing because I had and I have this practice of using the underscore naming convention as an alternative to private and protected. So if you look at my code, you'll see a lot of functions, but few instances where I'll use public, private and protected. And it's in the engine of the framework, but I'm talking more about the modules, the day-to-day stuff, you know. And it occurred to me that this is actually a little bit confusing, and I'm the guy who wrote the thing, you know, at least the initial one. So I started to ask, do you think we should consider bringing in access modifiers throughout this whole ecosystem of ours? And I asked the question, and people were like, nah, just keep it as it is, you know. People seem generally happy. And I thought, fair enough. I have to say, Doranov, who is a supporter of the channel, he was the lone, what's the word, contrarian. He was on there saying, no, you need to clarify if this is something that other people can call or not. You know, talking about methods. A method, of course, is a function inside a class. And I said to Doronov, I says, well, look, we've had the vote. You've done a great case, but see you later, and nice try, and what can you do? But I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it a little bit more. In fact, probably more than any of you have ever thought about this type of stuff. I walked the walls. I ran tests. Spent many hours with AI, friends, enemies, and all sorts. And the conclusions are crystal clear for me. The underscore naming convention, well, let's do them in order of priority. First of all, Trongate is and will continue to be the framework that prioritizes stability above everything else. Anybody who thinks you're going to hear me saying all of your code's broke, don't worry, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to turn around and do that. In fact, even if they did something with the PHP language that just forced stuff to break, I would probably build a desktop app for you guys. And I'd say they changed everything, all of your stuff is broke, but press this button and it'll all be fixed. That's how committed we are as far as stability goes, so don't worry about that. Another thing I want to clarify as well is that my good friend Simon, the godfather of speed coding, he had mentioned, he actually just dropped a word and said something about, you know, he says, I don't know if I agree with enforcing access modifiers. And just to be clear, I'm not in the business of enforcing anything. These things, you know, private, public, protected, curly brackets, where you're going to put them, even things like, are you going to use camel case or snake case and all of that? These are decisions that only you can make. And before Trongate came along, I was looking at other frameworks, and they would start the documentation with a big lecture about how you must do this and you must do that and you must, you know, in capital letters. We've seen that, right? And I just thought, wouldn't it be nice if we had a framework that lets people code how they feel, you know? And at the end of the day, if we have a modular architecture and you're collaborating with another developer, say, then you can say, well, I'm going to work on this module and you can work on that module, and they can use their coding style or whatever, and you can use yours, and hopefully it'll join together. Actually, that was better. It'll join together and everything will be just fine. Nobody worth their salt is going to worry because somebody put a curly bracket on the next line. I insist. So there's not going to be any enforcing of anything here. I'm not going to turn around and say, you must change this, you must change that. But I've been thinking hard about the argument put forward by Doronov, and I've come to the conclusion that he was right. I am keeping the underscore method. I'm using it. In fact, I insist it's a necessity. We need it. We have to keep it. I'm using it. But when I thought about it for a solid 7 days or so, and it wasn't a walk around the park, I'm testing things and all sorts. What I realised is that the only real defence, there's only two defences for leaving out access modifiers that I can think of that are valid. The first defence is, it's less characters to type. So if you're typing public, you know, private, function every single time, it's potentially a lot of typing. And that's a bit of a drag. The second argument for leaving out access modifiers is that it's less stuff to learn. And to give you a little marketing insight, at the time I was thinking it would be attractive to JavaScript developers. Anyway, those two arguments are actually quite weak. With regards to the first one, which is you're going to type more characters, I think that we're at a stage now where we should have shortcut keys for that. You should be able to go and it just says public function blah blah blah, you know? And I don't have that yet, but I'll probably have it very soon. So that would be the answer to that one. And with regards to the second one, well, we have to be honest, you know, the JavaScript programmers that are all leaping with joy at our decision not to use public, private and protected in our modules, well, where are they? They haven't showed up, you know. So I have started to use access modifiers in my own code. I don't think that I don't feel any need to do doc blocks and type hinting and return types, and there's even a few other things on top of that. I don't think you should go overboard with this. But with regards to the access modifiers thing, personally, having played around with it for a while, I've come to the conclusion that it gives you focus and clarity, and it kind of helps you to keep in touch with the code. One of the biggest technical mistakes that developers make is when they rebuild things that they've already built. That's the biggest technical mistake that's plagued me. And if there's anything that can prevent that, such as saying, this is a private method, it fetches the usernames for the forum or something. Anything that gives a little bit of precision is good, you know. So I'm going to start using them. I'm pretty much sold. Of course, I'm never going to enforce anything. But I had ran a second poll in one of the live streams a few days afterwards, and I was like, what do you think of this, folks? And that time, 77% felt it was a good idea. They felt we should do this. Now, I don't think that me coming on here on this tiny little channel with maybe like 5 people watching is an appropriate way to make important decisions for the framework. So I am going to figure out how to conduct a formal poll. It will probably not be anonymous, because if I made it anonymous, then for all you know, the results are being made up. But I am going to figure out how to do actually polls, let's say the plural. And we're going to give you folks an opportunity to help us make decisions about what to do with this framework, you know. The one reassurance I can give you is that there are certain things that are non-negotiable, and the top of the list is stability. We're not going to contact you and tell you that all your stuff's broken. That's a promise. Now, there's actually another argument that I lost recently, just the other day, actually yesterday. And congratulations, Doronov, for winning the first argument. And when I say argument, I say that word in the spirit of a philosopher or a chess player or somebody. There's no hostility. It's a good thing, you know. The other argument I lost was in the live stream. I had started a live stream with a big old rant about the way that tech companies are pushing wokeism. And there was one tech company, actually a few I saw, but I'm thinking of one that I saw in England, who had so proudly put a section on their site, big old page, talking about how all of our staff members are forced to learn about slavery and colonialism and all of that shameful stuff that happened in the past. And I made the point at the start of my video that this was not only ridiculous, but divisive and completely unethical. One of the regulars here at the live stream, and I don't have many regulars, but one of the regulars is Stefan from Germany. And, you know, I consider him a friend. Can you imagine how bad the energy would be and how stupid if somebody was to turn around and say, okay, Stefan, you're a German and a few things we need to talk about. We're all going to do a course and you have to participate, and we're going to talk about what happened in Germany in the 30s and 40s. Shame on you. Oh, shame on you. Such a gesture would be ridiculous, totally unethical, frankly bullying. And the funny thing is, there are people who went through that who are alive today. We're not talking about some deep in history thing. I've never been a slave owner. Been a slave. Never been a slave owner. I've never had a plantation. I don't think I've got any relatives who have done that gig, as far as I know. But this idea of digging out stuff from the past, all so that you can just shame people who were not there, who were not and are not responsible. This is an outrage. And I did a little rant about this at the start of a live stream, and I made it far more animated than this. I'm sure I would have been swearing like a drunken sailor and probably enjoying an incredibly strong black coffee at the time. Anyway, I did my little rant and then I started coding. And when I start coding, the viewing figures go boom. And it's funny, you know, last Saturday I coded for 10.5 hours on YouTube. I actually coded for 13.5 hours, but I'd started 7:30 in the morning and I do have neighbours. But I've been doing these really, really long live coding streams, and somebody left a comment and they said, just from memory, it was a stranger actually, but they said, do you realise how good you are at, you know, commentary or current affairs or something like that? Why don't you do more of that, you know, instead of these live coding streams? And it was a nice comment, you know, but I just thought, I haven't really got anything interesting to say. I'm not a political guy. I don't rate myself in any great way. But thanks for the comment. But the next day, this person came back onto the live stream and left a few friendly comments and things, but then said, you know, because I was saying I'm about to start coding, and this person says, I don't know why you're doing this. Nobody wants to watch live coding. I said, oh, really? Well, how about this? And I brought up the private members area. And I showed, it says, look, these are people who are paying. And it's the private members area. And I code every day, and that's the private members area, and there they are. And here's the money. I think it was about $120 a month or something. And the person got back in the room and said, they're not paying because they want to watch you coding live. They are paying because they just want to support you. And at that time and at that moment, I would have said, fine, okay, cheers, now I'm going to start coding. I had a really miserable day of coding again, trying to build things. But through the night, I thought about it. And I thought, you know what? That person is absolutely right. It never occurred to me. And it's funny, innit? Because it's so obvious, you know? Do you know that the highest earning video that I've got every month that's top of the charts is entitled 3 Reasons Why Laravel is a Dying Framework? I've made fortunes off of that video. Wonder if I can give you the numbers. Anyway, I'm good at that type of content, you know? I am good at it. But at the same time, I'm trying really hard to get judged by the code. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather the code speaks for itself, because I'm right, you know? I'm right. And when it comes to the things like benchmarks, modularity, third-party dependency, vulnerabilities, and general stability, character count, all of that stuff is measurable. And with all of these things, we win. So I'm kind of just glad for people to just look at the code, and I don't feel a need to come on and start bad-mouthing any particular framework or something like that, you know? Gets a bit boring anyway, right? So, having given it a little bit of thought, I think that the dude is probably right. And I think that yesterday was probably my last live coding stream here on YouTube. Because the only person getting something from it is me. When I started doing those live coding streams, at the time, I was going a bit crazy with some of the things that I was seeing on Twitter, you know. Seemed to me like the world was going mad. And at that time, I found myself just getting embroiled in all sorts of stupid arguments and everything. And I just thought, this is so negative, you know. And then I thought, how can I stop myself from this type of negative behaviour, you know? And I realised that if I just record the screen or stream and say, right, this is what I'm doing from the moment I sit down to the moment I turn in, it's kind of a guarantee that I'm not going to go arguing about some bullshit online. It's a guarantee that I'm not going to, you know, indulge in any negative behaviour. And hopefully it's a guarantee that I'll get stuff done. So that's pretty much what I've got from it. And the idea that just maybe somebody could be watching, it has been an incredible motivational force for me. But I think that the guy yesterday was right. I don't think anybody wants to watch somebody code for a gazillion hours. So I'm probably not going to do any more live coding streams here on YouTube. Certainly not for the public channel, but maybe not for the private one as well. I'm probably going to keep live streaming and coding even on Twitch. And the reason why is because I still get something from it, you know. There's a motivational force in just maybe somebody's watching. But the other thing is on Twitch I'm able to play nice music. So I can't do that here, you know. So I'm probably going to be live streaming on Twitch, but it'll be a little bit different. It'll be mostly just me playing music that will hopefully be helpful. You'll probably not hear me talking very much, and you're welcome to come along and see what I'm listening to and that type of thing. Maybe I'll say a few words occasionally, you know. But I'll give you the address for that if anybody's interested. It's going to be, and I'll write it in the chat. It's twitch.tv/Glasgow Dev. That's my Twitch channel, and like I say, it's fine. It's live coding, but the nice thing is you can play music without worrying too much about copyright strikes and stuff. So it's a little bit different. But if you want to know what I'm working on, and some of you nutcases do enjoy watching a guy coding, now you know. It's twitch.tv/Glasgow Dev. But anyway, that's going to be pretty much it for now. I think that's all I've got for you. So with that being said, let me turn to the comments and see what you folks have got for me. So I'm looking at Blue3, new name. He says, I pop in now and then to peep the technique. Thank you, thank you. D3 Mon, how you doing? Stability is king, clarity is queen. Now there's a quotation. Algo can do. Thank you. New names, by the way. Blue3 and Algo Can Do, welcome. Says, we respect you from Istanbul. You are producing values for the world of software development. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And hail to all of you folks. Do you know what's funny? I think I was the first person to declare bullshit on rewrite culture, and I think I was the first person to declare bullshit on agile. When everybody else was saying, yay, version 2000 has just been released, I was out there saying this sucks. There's nothing good about this. And the funny thing is, I was proven to be absolutely right. In fact, I don't think I'm a contrarian anymore. I think all you have to do is look at the jobs market. All you have to do is look at the tech news. Look at the top technologies. It's not PHP and it's not Node.js. The top technologies today are Python and C#. I've had a look at the jobs boards recently in the UK. I would say Python and C# are now dominating about 50% of the tech jobs for developers. Python, of course, is, as far as I know, is just on version 3. They don't have rewrite culture. And I'm pretty sure that C#'s the same. And the languages of stability, like Golang, which is still on version 1, by the way. That's the future. And in fact, that's the norm of the general tech community. And I was the first one who declared bullshit in all of these new versions. And I said, this is stupid. Why can't you improve stuff without breaking the stuff? And of course, it's all to do with money. If I sell framework certification for a living, then it means that every time I break the framework, every time I come out with a new version, it gives me a reason to sell a whole bunch more certificates. There was a time when I had to name the frameworks and say, look at what they're doing, look at what they're doing. I don't have to name them now. I was right. And the industry has proven that. And I also called out all of the agile bullshit. And I said, this is bullshit. I'm still a little bit ahead of the curve with that one. There's still a lot of jobs advertising agile managers or agile environments and stuff like that. But I'm seeing signs that that narrative, the agile narrative, is starting to collapse. I'm seeing business owners who have just had enough and they're starting to realise that they've wasted fortunes on a middle management nightmare. I was right. Let me open the door for Coco. All right, yeah, I was absolutely right about the agile stuff. And if there's any employer out there hiring an agile team right now, give me a phone call and I guarantee in half an hour I'll change your mind. So it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange, isn't it? To see these things unfolding in this manner. Anyway, that's what we did. We have Christian here, our great Viking warlord. How you doing, Christian? He says, Ahoy, David, he is right. I'm a member to support you because you're a likeable guy. And I like when you speak straight out without all the bullshit. I don't always have time to watch your streams, but sometimes I watch when I have time. I also watch them later on YouTube. I'm proud to be a member of your community. Have a great day. Well, thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate that, you know. There's a lot of bad energy in YouTube right now. Just the other day I was watching a guy with a watch channel and he says YouTube's banned these videos and I'm chucking it, you know, and people are getting banned left, right and centre. But the truth is, YouTube owes me nothing. And can you imagine it? Like, think about all of the stuff you get from YouTube for free. In fact, YouTube literally pays my phone bills. This is a fantastic platform. And of course, there's a few issues with the algos and stuff like that, but it's good. And I enjoy YouTube and I'm not gonna, I have no plans of going anywhere. All I'm saying is, I think that the days of me doing big 10-hour live streams are gonna go. At least doing them on YouTube. So that's pretty much that. Now I'm going to have a little look at the chart here. As long as there are questions coming in, and as long as that little chart's not plummeting to the floor, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you folks have got, or address any comments. Alright. Algo Can Do says, thank you for sharing your insights on C#, Python, and the stability of Go. Your expertise is truly inspiring and has given me valuable perspectives on these technologies. I appreciate your guidance. So thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I'll tell you the ultimate guidance, by the way. I'll give you the gold. I'll give you the best that I've got. And that is, nobody really knows what's going on. And when you see channels and they're all kind of like, I'm not going to go there, but, you know, I've seen channels doing entire rants about the direction of technology and AI and, you know, Steph Mischuk infamously did a video where he said that Swift is dying. I don't want to be that guy. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a few basic principles that I'm standing by. I think I'm right about, well, I think I'm proven right about stability. All we have to do is look at the marketplace. Look at the technologies that were used to build ChatGPT. You know, they were stable technologies. There's nothing radical about any of that. It's perfectly normal. And I think that I am going to formally predict, in fact, that the agile narrative is, I think it's already falling apart. But I think within the next year or so, there'll be no question that that whole narrative has collapsed, because it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. The idea that you can hire a middle manager and a team of mediocre, subservient developers, and somehow that's intelligent, is just clueless. People are throwing money down the drain. And the funny thing is, so many times I've said, bring them here, bring these agile evangelists onto this channel. I'll talk to them live. And they never show up. But we know how it would go, right? We know how it would all go. I've been perfectly clear. I said I'll even help them, because I've seen people saying, if you don't do it this way, you're not even a professional. And I've got in touch and I've said, okay, come onto my live stream and let's talk. I says, as a matter of fact, I'll even help you out. I'll give you my opening salvo. Here's what I'm going to say, and you can take as long as you want to prepare a response. Agile guy. My opening salvo is going to be this. Why should anybody listen to you? Simple as that. Such a simple little question. And I don't think that they've got any answer beyond, well, I've been here for a long time. Speaking of which, there was a PHP podcast a while ago, probably about a year ago, and they did a podcast with the title No Composer for Old Men, and that was the title of the podcast. And they did what they considered to be a demolition job on Trongate and on me as a person. And they had picked up on the fact that I was not a fan of Composer. And that was their incredibly witty title. And I think I know who the guy was who did the title and who came up with it. And the dude looks like Santa Claus, Big old, from memory, a big old grey beard and everything. Put it this way. If you were doing a remake of the Dukes of Hazzard and you needed somebody to play the part of the granddad on the rocking chair, ogling at Daisy Duke's legs all day, he would have been perfect for the role. And I thought to myself, he does this podcast, No Composer for Old Men. And I thought, which one of us two looks the oldest? Grandpa. Which one of us two do you think? Anyway, I never said that. I suppose I just said it there, but I never said it when it counted. It's really easy, innit, to just get sucked into that kind of thing. But I'm trying hard not to. I'm trying very hard. Anyway, we have the great Mame Meister in our midst. How you doing? Very nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying the piano music. He says, morning, Mr. C. You completely changed the way I view YouTube. It offers so much for absolutely nothing. Hail, hail. Bring on the revolution. Bring on the revolution. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, people, do you hear me? I can feel it. And that is exactly the kind of energy that we need. Thank you, Mame Meister. And I have to say as well, you know, I mean, I know it's not noon yet. We don't want to start sucking each other's cocks before noon. But, jeez, I've just got this video demonetized. Anyway, you've actually given me something, you know, because when I discovered his channel, and can we please leave a link? Please do leave a link to your channel, Meme Meister. When I discovered his channel a few years ago, I think it's safe to say he was having a rough time. And what I noticed, if there was one word, it was authenticity. Here was a guy who could just switch on and say, here's what I'm going through, and here's my perspective of life. And by the way, isn't the Commodore 64 cool? That's a pretty cool channel, by the way. And that was a huge one for me. And I realised, it's like, if you look at the way I'm dressing, this is all the biggest practical joke ever. You know, I wear, the other day I had on a watch, just yesterday. I'll show you. Alright, I can't find it, but it looked like this, you know, and it looks ridiculous, but it was a £12 watch, you know, made in China. and I'm quite upfront about stuff like this, and I think I might have got a wee bit of that from you, Meme Meister, because when you have authenticity like that, you cannot lose, you know. So thank you, and I appreciate it. And there's his channel. Alright, well, let's see what else we got. Algo can do. I have a dream of an open source company that leverages open source technologies and artificial intelligence to manage tasks. It's still an aspiration, but I hope to pursue it when I feel ready. Well, let me think about that. Back to Eden is here. Ahoy to you. He says, David, have you ever seen the YouTube video from Simon Sinek called Why? No, I have not. Is it good? Anyway, thanks for leaving a link there to the channel of Meme Meister, and it's highly recommended, folks. So, Algo can do. Let's talk about this. I have a dream of an open source company that leverages open source technologies and artificial intelligence to manage tasks. Okay. Cool. Cool. Why open source though? Why? Why open source? Why not make it commercial, you know? Nothing wrong with that. Here comes. Thank you so much, Meme Meister. I'm not going to read that. Thank you so much. I hope we can meet up soon. D3Mon says, I have a dream of a private AI account that I can upload an entire code base to and suggest optimizations and edits, and also help to build new components. I don't think ChatGPT is there yet. Well, you know what's funny about that? I actually very recently have started to conclude that ChatGPT is the moon landings. You know what I'm saying, right? So when those moon landings happened, and I wasn't around, but there must have surely been all sorts of speculation that by now we'll be going into warp speed and doing teletransportation and everything. And it never quite happened. We never even got flying cars. Jeez. And of course, as I said yesterday, Concorde is another example. You know, not so long ago, Phil Collins was getting the Concorde to do Live Aid in Philadelphia. New York to London in, what was it, 3 hours or something. And the technology just stopped. And I want to be clear about stuff. There's different categories of stuff. There's stuff that I know. There's stuff that I'm pretty confident of, and there's stuff that's in the category of I've got a hunch. I've only got a hunch, but I've got a hunch that AI has plateaued, as crazy as it sounds. I think that we might be having a Concorde moment. So how about that? Anyway, I think that's about us. Thanks very much for passing by. I do appreciate it. So I'm going to be doing it. I am going to be coding like a maniac today. But I'm just not going to be doing it on YouTube. I think that I enjoy just talking, you know? And maybe that's what I'm going to do. Who knows? Maybe we could call it the Saturday Waffle. I'm all like an all part of the game. All part of the game. Anyway, thanks very much for passing by. I do appreciate it. And whatever you're doing, I hope you have a fantastic day. And hopefully, I'll talk to you soon. Oh, one more thing. This here, it's a little bit tatty, but this is my selling jacket. If you ever see me wear this jacket, it means that I'm probably selling something. The last time I sold something on YouTube, I had a 10% conversion rate. And I made $24,000 in one day. So, I'm going to give you fair warning. The next time you see me, I may be wearing this jacket. And remember, if I'm wearing this jacket, be on guard. Because just maybe I'm going to sell you something, you know? Alright. Thank you very much indeed, folks. Bless you all to the highest. And I'll see you very soon. Alright, I'm all fuzzy. There we go. Take it easy.